In 2017, your commissioner lost his title as champion. Everything has gone wrong since. In 2017, Donald Trump became the 45th President of the United States. In 2018, Thanos snapped half of civilization into oblivion. In 2019, Andrew Luck unexpectedly retired right before the beginning of the season. And in 2020, COVID-19 began spreading across the globe, creating havoc everywhere. In 2021, Dingle McCringleberry started off the season with a dreadful 2-5. Bill seriously considered selling off his roster and even began to make moves. Would this be the end of an epic run? No. Your champ is back, and it feels good. Just wearing the shirt of the champion. In case you're wondering about my status. Feels good. Feels good. As is my right, I get to make a video bragging about my accomplishments that I worked very hard for this season, as I have absolutely no outcome on these games, and it is a complete coin flip, especially with COVID. So it's been a fun year. I wanted to kind of highlight some of the moves that was made and thank multiple people in this league for trading with me, because I definitely would not have won without some trades. So first off, I have to give a shout out to Andrew Behrman for rejecting a trade of mine. Actually, we went back and forth. Well, more me just kind of throwing something in the wind of trying to trade Mark Andrews for George Kittle at the beginning of the season. And Andrew, thank you for rejecting that, as now I finished with tight end 1, and Andrews took it to the next level. He's on the level of Kelsey. So we'll see how that continues. But that was cool. And as highlighted earlier, I started out 2-5. And then kind of was looking at selling off some pieces. So I traded away Mike Williams for Chris for a first round pick. So that actually gave me some ammunition to use later on. And I was kind of worried about just the Steelers offense in general and the Washington football team not really having a quarterback. So got rid of Gibson and Johnson. Naycock paid with a 1st and 5th rounder for me, gave me more ammunition to use later on. And he also traded me Lockett, who ironically had a 20-point game immediately the week after he traded him to me. And so thanks, Naycock. Appreciate that. Something that really helped was Elijah Moore. I picked him up right before he had a massive game against Chris that I needed to win. And then Jalen Waddle also just having a pretty solid first season in the league. Those two rookie wide receivers were pretty low cost for me, so it really helped to have consistent guys to fill out the rest of my roster. And then the big moves that were made, I had to convince Justin to throw in the towel and traded me Cooper Kupp, who has had one of the craziest seasons of any fantasy player, much less a wide receiver, that I've seen. That one was expensive. That cost me a 1st and a 2nd rounder, because he was like, if you're convincing me to throw in a towel here, got it. It's going to be painful. I was like, all right, I'll do it, because Kupp's freaking good. And then also traded for James Conner from Thomas. So thank you very much for that. I looked into him and realized he was having a way better season than I anticipated. I really hate the split backfield situation, but Arizona's offense is so good, and James Conner was just getting touchdowns at a massive rate. That's really where his value came from. Ironically, he was hurt in the playoffs when I needed him the most, so that kind of sucked. But I had accumulated depth, as Naycock actually encouraged me in this trade, in which I got Devontae Adams and Damian Harris. I wasn't as interested because I didn't want Harris. It was expensive for the package. I got a 6 back, but I sent a 1st, 3rd, and AJ Brown, who actually did well during the playoffs, so I could use Brown. But Devontae Adams, man, next level, and he also helped me kind of finish out the season. So I would just like to highlight, so I showed my defeat in Week 7, and I did not lose the rest of the season. So I believe that's 9 straight wins, maybe 10 if I can't do math correctly. Um, but yeah, feels good. And then my playoff journey, so I got the bye. I won out, so I was able to secure the number 1 seed, just barely. Tied record, but points scored were in my favor. And then for some reason, I think I wouldn't have gotten to the playoffs in situation if I hadn't made the trades. However, in the playoffs, I had literally the easiest journey to a title ever. Bye in the first round. Andrew scored 53 points. 53 points in his matchup against me. And then, so that's crazy. I don't think in this format I've ever scored that low. So basically a bye into the championship. And with Travis, I gotta admit, your roster scared me a bit. You had some talent, had the top end with Kelsey and some other guys too. And Eckler, I was kicking myself for trading him to you last season. I was trying to compete then, and Eckler just took it to another level this year. But you only managed to score 93, which isn't like pooping bad, but that's pretty bad for the playoffs, which is just unfortunate. I scored 150, so I don't think it really would have mattered much, which that's one of the higher scores. However, special shout out to Corey for in that final championship weekend. If he had been playing me, he put up 182 points. Jamar Chase had like a 50-point game, so that was absolutely wild. But I really have the Cowboys defense to thank for putting up a crazy game against the Washington football team in order to get Travis the needed W so that I didn't have to face Corey's juggernaut in week 17. And Travis, if you wouldn't have won that game, though, I know you'd have been kicking yourself because I looked at your bench in week 16. Your bench went off. So all in all, a great season, obviously, because I won. So like, oh yeah, of course it's great. But I had a lot of fun. Personal note, I have decided to cut my fantasy intake to just one league. And you guys, because you're my bros, you're the people I'm sticking with, that I'm going to ride with. So that means I can hopefully be a bit more engaged as a league manager, not really have to split my time that way as time is becoming less and less. But just wanted to kind of recap my particular season, and we'll probably have some fun videos between now and when we get things going later on. But I'm also growing my hair out and my beard a little bit right now, so that's kind of fun to show off. So yeah, thanks for tuning in here, and I guess we will continue on with keepers. We'll do that in August, but yeah, or I don't get to see you, but good talking to you. This one's for the Razorcave.